Hello! Hello, rain! Welcome. So where are we at here? Now you're seeing a GC that is functional, driving, accelerating, braking, doing all the things that a car should do. And it's a ton of fun. And I know what you're thinking. You want to see some action video instead of this thing on another lift. Trust me too. However, just to finish off a couple of odds and ends, we thought we'd once again not leave well enough alone and throw a couple more parts at it. We have a heat problem with the turbocharger being basically right underneath the intercooler, and the options is to get a heat shield or to try a turbo blanket. Other than that, so the car's already been aligned. It's got the KWV1 coilovers. However, the geometry up front, I would like to do a little bit more with. The geometry in the back is very much adjustable. Subaru offers you lots of adjustability, but up front, we basically have ride height adjustability, a little bit of camber from the two bolts at the bottom of the knuckle, but not much else. So in order to address some of this and to give the car a little bit more grip in the front end, we're gonna throw on two relatively simple parts. One, a set of new top hats. Now what you'll notice in these top hats is that the mounting point for the bolt for where the strut goes on is not in the center like it is on the OEM one. And what this does is that if we mount this thing like this, it moves the strut, the top of the strut, both inwards, which gives you camber, and rearwards, which gives you caster. Both of those things help. So static camber helps you grip in the front when you load the suspension, and caster also increases both your dynamic camber, which means the camber that you gain as you turn your steering wheel, and it gives you a heavier on-center feel. These are from a GD chassis. They are the same as the GC. They are white line. They have obviously a bearing in there, so we just need to pull out the front struts and reinstall, or rather replace the OEM ones with these. On top of that, since we're doing an alignment because of these anyways, what we want to do is put in this anti-lift kit, also by Whiteline. So this kit basically also gives you a little bit of additional caster due to how these bushings are offset. They will replace the rearward front control arm bushings, and we've got a bunch of spacers and hardware to space the subframe as needed. So those should be the final little touches here, at least for some time, for the suspension on the car before we really take it out. Show you guys how it rips around on the roads, take it ice racing. I can't wait. So let's jump on and get this stuff done. Oh. Almost. Tighter. Yeah, go. We broke a vise, as you saw, and this still stands. 22 millimeter, big impact, vice break and goodness. Hard to get off. They call it the Jesus nut for a reason. However, Stefan has some arms out of a GD STI, and his bushing connection here, which is I guess the arm that goes to the bushing, was already loose. So then we used his arms to mount our caster adjustment anti-lift kit, and we've got one kind of pseudo in here. It's not bolted in yet. And then of course we went to take off this side, and the usual Subaru disaster struck. So what you can see there is what happens when you impact these sort of bolts. So don't use impacts. That's not going to be the way. And what it usually does is that it strips out the aluminum, damages it, and now we're gonna have to see if we can clean up those threads, if we need to tap them bigger with a new bolt, or we might even have the option to put a nut on the end of this because it goes right through the arm. Just when you think you're done, well, let's be honest, you're never done. So just come and see what happens here when I press on the car down, okay? Check it out. Do you see how I press it down and it stays there? And then I can like lift it up and it like lifts up, and I can press it down and it stays there. And I can do that on both sides, and then I can lift it up and it stays up. Well, it's not supposed to work that way. What's happening is actually a common problem that if you go on GD forums, you see that it's a common issue, is that there's actually stiction inside the shocks. The rears are leaking, the KWV ones are leaking, and the shaft is getting stuck with enough friction inside the body of the shock such that you can have varying levels of height that just kind of stay there. So because of the leaking and because of the stiction, it's creating a whole bunch of noise, and this was a good opportunity to get something else on this car. Our yellow, blue, and silver friends. These are PSS9 Bilsteins designed and made for the GD chassis. They are adjustable at the bottom, both compression and rebound adjustable. They have helper springs, just like the KWs do for the fronts. These are the fronts, and these are the rears. Unlike the KWs, they have linear springs, which is what I like for a performance application. They too are adjustable underneath this funny looking cover, and they don't need helper springs in the rear. So we're gonna preload them to the right amount when we install them. The weather has smiled down upon us, and it looks like in a week and a half we're finally gonna be able to get this car on the ice. And to do that, we've got these beauties. Nice 17-inch Sparco Terra wheel with brand new winter Bridgestone rubber on them, ceramic coated because they are white, and they're just going to work really well with the color scheme of the car. Alignment, wheels, racing. So here we are after struggles with the front suspension, and we're here at Dale's. Dale is a local shop to us. Their specialty is alignment, mechanical work on Subarus and other brands. And Jameson is a true enthusiast of many vehicles, and he's a specialist in Subaru, so one of their front guys here. And he's really been helping us out in getting the GC dialed in, making suggestions on alignment, making suggestions on parts, and finally doing the alignment. So, and really just give him a shout out and a big thank you. If you're local to us in the Lower Mainland, these are really the go-to guys for a lot of mechanical work, especially alignments. They have a lot of expertise. Now, if you guys are looking for some of this stuff yourself, if you want both knowledge and or parts or setup, then please do get in touch with us. We are always looking for making improvements, and we can improve your ride as well. So there it is, another chapter completed on the GC. Now it's really time to put on some miles on the car, and many smiles. We'll get right to that. So you can